Yeah. Mhm. Hmm. Okay. So on the first day, if you remember, we went through you know, basics in terms of what mindfulness is. What is the practice of mindfulness is, what are different aspects of it, and it was a general walkthrough about the entire thing all at once. Today, what we are going to do is, apart from a little bit of theory, we will try to understand the actual process. So there are two ways exactly. See, when we talk about mindfulness, the beauty of mindfulness is that everyone tries to keep the practice as simple as possible. So there is no deviation as such. So if you compare it with the Buddhist philosophy, especially in the Buddhist context, you will see only a little bit of deviation. So let's understand that. When I say deviation, say it could be like someone does a body scanning or progressive relaxation from top to bottom, otherwise you from bottom to top. That's all.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
in terms of the basic constituent of this practice, mindfulness as a whole, you will find any much deviation as such. Only difference when it comes to, if you compare it with the Kashmiri Shaivism or the ancient Hindu philosophy, there you have some deviation in terms of like this should be done and then after this should be followed and everything. But the beauty of this practice right now is that in most of the cases it is always about the breath. So the end result is always the breath. When you start off, this is all about the physical sensations. The more you keep on getting further deep down into it, it turns into more subtle part. And the more you dive into it, then suddenly you start becoming aware about it. So the awareness front comes into the picture. So what we call it as the pure observable mind, or Hindi we call it as the drishtava. It's something you just watch it, and just you just watch it, you don't react to it. So if it's something pleasant, good enough, let it fade away, because everything is supposed to fade. And if something unpleasant comes up, so any emotion that comes up, any memory comes up, it comes up with a lot of past emotions or future expectations. In both these cases, this will come up with a roller coaster of all the emotions. So you see those emotions and let them also fade. So this awareness practice takes you to this core understanding. This entire universe is impermanent. Impermanence is the key of existence. If things are not impermanent, it means that they are not growing and they are not passing away, something like this. Everything is supposed to follow a cycle of life and death somehow. And a breath, the breath what we follow, this is a basic unit of life that shows that how impermanent we are. The moment we come into this world, we take a breath and then we exhale. We don't keep it anymore. Okay? So if the breath is so impermanent, then imagine everything associated with it. All the sensations, all the memories, all the karmas, all the sankharas, or all the past deeds that you have done, all future expectations, these are all impermanent. So these are just pure, I would say, the awareness of this state is more important here. Let's take you through what we have done in the first time. We spoke about the restlessness of our mind, how restless it is, and how restless it is when you exactly sit in the meditation, you realize. Some people call it as the monkey mind, but let's understand it is not only this agility of the mind, but this is the nature of our mind also that doesn't want to be in the present moment. It always wants to dwell in the past, something that has happened, or think about something in the future. And it keeps on flipping between these both, and it never wants to be in the present moment. And this is where all the restlessness and everything comes up, because either you are trying to get something that is not possible or trying to create something that you want and it's not there. But where exactly you will get the peace? You can only get peace in the present moment. So right now, if I don't have a lot of money, if I don't have the position, or if I'm not so anything what I'm looking for in my life. I'm looking. But at this point in time, what I have, if I could be content with it, then only peace would come. And in our practice, even we use this strategy also, right? I'm trying to go through the awareness and I can't feel the awareness. So I accept the fact that in this moment, I can't feel the awareness. This is my current state. The moment you accept it, it starts, resisting it. You don't resist it now. So you have accepted it. So it is bound to fade away in the periphery. Okay. Now, the whole idea was to make your mind a companion rather than something you want to control, like a wild horse or something. So you want to make it a companion. Okay.
So,
And
may I interrupt you?
yeah,
Just taking a step back. So, some of these classes that I've attended earlier,
uh-huh,
I was always told that breath or prana is basically your best friend.
hmm,
It comes to you when you're born, and it is your best friend till you die.
hmm,
So we don't choose prana to be our friend, but it is our friend. So
it
is
is
that contradicting to what you're saying?
how. So how you think that this is basically contradicting with it?
No,
Uh,
your first statement, you kind of mentioned that it is not something that is going to stay. So I'm just
hmm,
connecting to that.
okay, right. Uh, see, uh, so let me answer you this by one question. Do you believe on God? Do you
Yes,
believe
yes,
on
I
God?
do.
Okay.
I'm not a very firm believer, but yes, I'm not an
Yeah,
atheist either.
it's so you didn't believe on God, or you believe on God. So do you actually believe on the actual existence of a God? Someone who comes to you and basically stands in front of you saying, "Okay, tell me what you want." So do you have a belief something like that, or do you something believe on like more like an energy or a kind of consciousness?
Yeah, I think the second one, more like a consciousness.
Consciousness. So what happens when we talk about breath? What happens there? If I tell you that there are some set of beliefs, that we take as a launch pad for us. And the first belief for mindfulness is impermanence. Impermanence of what? Impermanence of this life. And the first step to have a view of impermanent nature of our mind is we basically say that that's the breath. Okay. So when we say that the breath is impermanent, it means that it comes in and it goes out in that moment, and after that, it's not there. The next breath that you have, it is the next moment or that another moment of awareness where this again the impermanence of the breath comes in and goes out. What you are trying to see breath more as a random event from the day you are born to the day you are in. But what I am trying to say is the impermanence of this breath in each and every moment. This is what I'm trying to refer it to. The
Okay,
breath
yeah,
is
makes sense.
the breath is our companion, but every moment, the awareness of this specific breath that comes in and goes out, this basically gives a bit of a view about what is going to come into the picture. Because now it's the breath. After that, then you have the sensations. Something comes in, something very painful comes in, and then you just keep watching it because this is something unfavorable has come. So what you will do, you will just okay, something unpleasant has come, and I'm just going to watch it. You keep on watching it. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, maybe a minute or 90 seconds. Suddenly you will feel that that intense pain that you are feeling anywhere, like might be in the knees. Usually, when you sit cross-legged for 40 minutes, you typically feel in the knees. You will feel that it got stronger, 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 and suddenly that faded away. Now, it doesn't mean that now it has gone, that it is never going to come. It will come again, But again, you have to keep this observable perspective about the current moment. And if you keep it, you will realize that all the sensations, whether good or bad, these are also impermanence. And after that, the next step is the emotions. So any emotion that comes in, anything pleasurable, any good thing that happened in the past that came up now. But that is also not going to stay for any longer. It will just come and it will go away. And the next time some other memory will come and something else will come. And how their rise and fall has an effect on my body, on the sensation level. This connection basically shows that how fragile this entire creation of our body is exactly. I hope I have made it clear.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, so we spoke about yum and yum, why a moral conduct is needed exactly. And this path need to be very easy. If it's super complicated, so down the it is going to be complicated if you compare it and more see from a logical point of view. But the whole essence is to be aware, to be totally aware of this perspective that something is happening and you are just watching. So this
Mhm.
awareness is, we start with the breath, but understand that it is not the counting of the breath we are doing. We are using our breath only to reach up to that awareness of a state of that awareness that only becomes a silent watcher. And and he or she doesn't want to get engaged into the dialogue of my mind.
Mhm.
Okay. And some things like anything that comes into your perspective, something that you desire, we call it as craving. And anything that you don't want, so unwanted things, we call it as aversions. So being a human being, we keep on flipping between craving and aversion. All the choices is all about whether I want this right now at this point of time or not, or I don't want this in my life. So we keep on flipping into these things. So craving and aversion is where most of us we spend our cycle. Okay, gross mind is scattered. So any if your mind is very gross, if you're feeling something painful, if you're feeling something very intense kind of situations or feeling in your body, your mind will be scattered. So it can't penetrate deeper into the awareness of your body at that time. To let it happen, that need to be made supple. And only way it will become supple and concentrated is by by becoming totally aware and being non-reactive to each and every moment. Okay.
Mhm.
And focus area we spoke about, like in this picture, you can see this is what our focus area should be from here till here. So in the starting, the breath for someone in this, who just started with the practice, we try to focus in this area. So anything that happens here, below the nostrils, close by to the nostrils, or in this area, I will take a notice of it. Okay. And anything that happens over my face or other parts of my hands, I will just ignore it. Totally ignore it. I will never ever get it to. So my focus area would be this much. And slowly, after some practice, you move here, the nostrils, inside of the nostrils, outside of the nostrils, then only towards outside and the nostrils, and the small, so this the small area, nostrils here. Okay. Uh, okay. So and so specifically the mustache area, and thereafter we focus on here. When we are able to feel things here, the incoming and outgoing breath, the touch of the sensation of the breath in this area, then we focus only on this part, only this much. Okay. Now, so let's understand according to the Asanka and Kavalashila, as I have mentioned day before yesterday, the practice what he has made. What are how from step one you will move to step two and you will go down to the step three and then level four. Okay, and we will try to see what are some common challenges that being a meditator you fall basically you need to confront in the practice. So the first is about Kabbalah Shila said that it is the breath, and the breath we don't the whole awareness should be only on the in and out of the breath. So any the moment it gets in and then it gets out, awareness should be on the inside when it inhale and exhale. Why inhale and exhale? Because these are the moments when you have some physical sensation happening. So it's easier to move your attention towards inhale and exhale. Okay, so you start with the inhalation and exhalation and full awareness of this practice. As I said, the breath shows the impermanence nature of life. Every breath is like, it just comes in and goes out. It's not always there. Okay. And it's available all the time. Why breath? Because it is available all the time. So if you're walking, if you're doing something, you have a big confrontation with someone, but in that troublesome period also, in those troubled times also, still you have the breath. So you could be totally aware about and to be totally mindful about the breath awareness in those moments if you want to control your anger or something. So the first step into the breath practice is what? So the first step is all about Stiram Sukham Asana. Your body posture should be comfortable. So as I said, it should be erect. It should not be super tight or something. The posture should be erect. And we should do everything to make ourselves comfortable so that we can sit for at least 40 minutes, 50 minutes, or maybe an hour or 90 minutes. So if you have kept yourself adhisthana, a challenge that you are going to sit for 1 hour, so you should ensure that you should be stiram and sukham. You should be comfortable for those 60 minutes. So you should make everything available to you. So if you need pillows, do it. Okay. If you need a support or some folded blanket below your sacral part, just place it there so that your body should be comfortable. Okay. So Stiram Sukham and erect spine is the first priority. Now, it says that the breath is always available, but how we are going to feel the breath? Do you, as a practice, if you when you focus on the breath, can you even feel it right now at this point of time, the inhalation and exhalation of the breath? Can you do that? Thank you. No,
No, not
no,
really. It's
not
unconscious.
really. Unconscious. So the thing is how we are going to feel it. The only way we are going to feel is by being equanimous. If my mind is balanced and in its equanimous, we need to train our mind to be equanimous, a non-reactive mind, totally observable mind. So four different terminologies, different meaning, but they refer to only one state. A balanced mind, a perfect balance between mind and the body. Okay. It's terrible. It's equanimous. Equanimous means that's totally comfortable with what it has now. It doesn't want to get into engage into any kind of dialogue. Observable mind. It just being a perfect spectator, it just watches it. Okay, and anything that comes, it just watches it until it fades away to the periphery, without getting into a dialogue. So if if you can keep this equanimity of your mind, you could sit for longer period of time as long as you can go deeper into it. So as I've said before, also our body is like a bowl, and this relaxation. So when you sit and you start body scanning, and when after that when you move to the breath, this relaxation that you have, this basically somehow harmonizes and try to establish a balance. So anytime if some thought comes up and suddenly you give yourself a sugar, okay, and suddenly you hear a sound and suddenly you become like you open your eyes, what it does is it changes this entire relaxation that you have gained. So we have to learn to be absolutely comfortable and equanimous with it. So if I have to do some changes to it, I have to do it very diligently, very slowly, so that this presence of the breath, the relaxation would not be hampered. So let me give you an example. If I started developing my back, okay, and if I feel like my body is really hunched down, very much. If I can, what I can do is I can keep my hands and then and I can do that. But the moment I did it, it's like everything gets, everything just moves away, and you have lost your balance. So how you do? So you have become totally hunched in the front. So what you do is you inhale and you move your breath by keeping a balance of what's the awareness of the breath or anything that you are feeling now in your body. So you have a total awareness of the breath and something happening in the body, and then you make small changes. Then the next breath, again same thing. Again the next breath. Okay. So you are moving gradually, very diligently, so that the balance should not be broken by it. Now after Now the same thing happens. Now this is the posture. Now if just imagine if you hear a noise, very big noise, something like a marriage is happening, and you can feel that the entire barat is going on, and you can feel the chisel and the hammer and everything, all different kinds of sound. Or do you see a truck coming and you can see the very irritating honking happening? Or a dholwala is there, and suddenly he just comes closer to you and he starts doing. And what you will do in this situation? What will be your strategy? What you will do, George?
I'd probably, I'm going to just listen. I mean, I don't know. It's a difficult. I mean, I usually like Bharat and all that, so I, I probably might dance. I don't know.
So the point is that you are in meditation. The moment you start enjoying, so your area of focus from the practice is shifted to the music. Okay. So if you shift it towards it, it's fine. But now you have a choice, a diligent choice. You can always change the perception of the subject. So if you are focusing on the breath, it's fine. But suddenly, if something comes up and it has grabbed your attention, the wisest way is to genuinely, if you feel like I'm going to get distracted with it, shift your attention from the breath to that specific sound with a wholehearted attention towards it. Okay? You enjoy the music, you feel how enjoyable this music is. You feel that very intensely. You feel it with your 100% devotion towards it, but you don't get engaged to it. You know, you feel it, but you never get into the dialogue. Oh, yeah, I love this music. I love this song. This song reminds me of childhood. No, you never get into it. Okay, this music has come up. No, this music is really good. I really like it. But let me just see this. Let me be totally aware about this funky that's happening in the background, or this door wala. And I will just focus on this sound, and I will separate my part, the awareness of my part that usually judges things. So I will be totally observant till the time that irritating sounds fade away. And what will happen if you do this practice in a couple of minutes? Usually it will happen that that irritating sound loses its power. And suddenly you can see this, you can hear that music, but still it will stop irritating to you. And you can keep on focusing into it until it fades away in the periphery. The moment it fades, you take it back to the breath again. So this is the conscious way by which you can do anything in your life, anything in your life. You could make anything a subject of your meditation,
Mhm,
but your main thread would be the breath. Okay.
mhm.
Now, anything you want to share? Anyone?
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry, again, I'm interrupting.
Huh.
So, are you saying it's all right to digress and just come back?
What I'm saying is, at that moment of time, the only option you have left is to become totally agitated by that sound. So for me, equanimity is the money, and this is where I keep my money. I never want to keep the equanimity of my mind, and to do that, if it's possible, to shift my attention from breath to that sound, to that troublesome thing that is going to happen. I will just focus on that only till the time. I develop my totally observable, you know, you know, attention towards that sound without getting engaged into this dialogue of whether it's good or bad. Until and unless it fades in, then I will take it back, control of my awareness back to the breath again. This is absolutely fine. I remember there was a story about Swami Vivekananda. He had a very troublesome time meditating, and he asked Swami, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, I can't meditate. And he said, what? What's the problem? He said, I hear this sound and it's irritating me. I said, okay. So one day he said, okay, do one thing. Just focus on that sound first. And Vivekananda did it. And next day, after that, he said, now focus back to the meditation again, the actual subject of the meditation. Another instance is when he was so agile, his mind was so agile, Vivekananda, he was not able to sit in meditation. So his guru came up and what he did is he pinched here on the third eye places, something like that. So what he did is he gave him a subject, a very, something unwanted kind of sensation, and told him to focus on it. And he did it, and suddenly he was able to continue his practice. So this is a normal protocol, especially in the context of mindful meditation. Okay. Now, if you use spectacles, always try to remove the spectacles because you don't need them. When your eyes is closed, you don't need it. And additionally, it adds some sort of pressure according to the kind of glasses that you use. So it's wiser to remove them. And always keep your hand at the body level. Your hand should be always at the body level. Okay. So it should never fall very low because if it will fall, it will pull your shoulders, it will give you that hunchback towards the back. So always try to keep it in the lap, especially at the body level. Okay. Now, the first step it says that now the first part is always is to cut the supply of the visual activities. So what we say that you close your eyes. But some people have some problem while closing the eyes. They have this intense kind of roller coaster. Some people start getting very much anxious by the start of closing their eyes. So for them, what you can do is you can keep like how Shiva does this, very, very little open kind of eyes. Only you can see a fraction of the visual part and keep your gaze on the ground. So you look at the ground, not a very pretty wide open eyes, but with a mild open eyes, you gauge at the ground and you gauge it till the time you become comfortable gauging them. And then slowly, if you like, you can close it and straight away get into with a closed eye for the practice. Okay. Now, always become aware about the present moment. So, if your mind drifts away, if your mind will wander away, and it will keep on doing it because that's the habit of your mind, and it will keep on happening. So, what you will do is how you will judge whether I have drifted away or not. So, this is the test. Where am I now? Am I am I really thinking about something in the past? It means my mind has drifted away. Where I need to be in the present moment. So give a big smile on the face and take your awareness back to the present. Okay. Now, as you get into with closed eye uh, awareness exercises, when you are trying to look at uh, the body first, the body scanning, what we do first. It says that you need to be first aware about the sound or the physical sensations or thought or feelings or any ideas or any memories. So what we are trying to say is that this is what a general pathway is. Somehow we need to feed our body first, and when we are comfortable with the body, then the actual sensation will come into it, and then after that the emotion side will come in, and then very deep rooted old memories will come into it. So you need to have a perfect awareness about all these things. That where am I now? Okay. And anywhere you feel like you have become totally aware about the feeling. So that's way ahead after sensation. And if you're not able to focus on your feeling at the time, what you will do, you will come back to the physical sensation first. A step back. And if you can't feel even the physical part, you will come back to very gross sensation or some sound kind of or something. Okay. So you will start with something there. So usually what happens when I I used to do meditation in the morning. In the morning, when you start off, it's very difficult to start focusing on any one subject. And I can hear a lot of sound from the background, from the neighbor, or a child is crying, or a bus passes away. What I will do is I first keep listening to each and every sound without any judgment, okay, until my mind gets habitual to it. And the moment it gets habitual, then I start my action or process, the practice of my going through the awareness of all the body parts one by one. So getting into the awareness of smaller body parts or the body scanning is the first step what we do. And this step not only prepares you, but even this allows you to lose any tension or any kind of any knots or anything that you have in your body, any kind of deeper seated feelings or anything, to let it fade away at that point of time. Because if you are carrying any kind of these emotions, your mind will be very close. You will not be able to feel the breath or the awareness of uh, the presence of your awareness in your body parts. And as I said, your mind is supposed to take you on a trip. It will keep on taking you on a trip. So you need to be totally aware that my mind is now different at this time. Where is my mind at this time? So if it's about something in the past, it has drifted away. Take it back to the present. Now, sometimes when we are working with the breath, so being a practitioner at the first level, we need to be encouraged sometimes. So what we'll do is sometimes when mind drifted away, then this feeling comes up, "Kya hai? What is happening? I just can't focus on them." Okay. Now, if you keep on investing on this thought, my mind is drifted away. Um, so this is basically you are in a dialogue of creating an aversion towards your behavior of your mind. So the more you create, the more your mind becomes gross. So how you change the perspective? You say, I have become aware. My mind was drifted away for so long. Now I have become aware. And now being awareness is what? Being awareness is the state of Buddha. Buddha was always aware. So I have become a Buddha for a very tiny second. And this prize, with this sense of achievement that you have become a little Buddha for a one minute second, then you take your mind back to your Buddha. So there should be no traces of aversion when you take your mind back. Because if you, as I'm saying it again, you don't want to make it gross, you want to make it subtle. And like be present of what's going on in your body. Like you are thinking about the breath, you're working with it, and something unpleasant came, something very painful, or something a very old memory came, and it is trying to engross you into this entire dialogue. Now, how bad this is. I just want to get out of the situation now. I don't think, I have completed 40 minutes. I feel like I have been sitting here for almost an hour. It usually happens when you sit for longer duration. 30 minutes seems like, you have crossed 1 hour or something. All these situations. So if something, these kind of things comes up, you become totally aware about. You need to be present, totally present, that now something unpleasant has come up and I'm totally aware about it. And I will not follow it. I will not be involved into the dialogue. I will just wait until it goes to the periphery. And after this, it says, note for the pleasantness of the silence and quietness. Now, what I mean by is that whenever you take your mind to your breath, back to the breath, so you have become a little bit dumb, and you take it back. So if you feel any peace, the quietness, that steadiness, earlier your mind was drifting every couple of minutes, but now it's been over 10 minutes. So reward yourself. Feel that please impress that you are exactly doing something particular. Because this is what a little achievement allows you to go for one to the another better. Okay. And again, the actual sense contact is neutral. No, this is not deep. You are focusing on the breath and you can feel the cold and you can feel the hotness. Okay. So this feels like something cooler comes in and goes out. But when you get deep down, you will realize this coldness is what? This is exactly something that is happening, or is it basically a sense of, I would say, a touch of awareness of this coldness on your sensory response. So what I mean by is that being a body, I am taking the breath, but I only feel the breath when that awareness, that sensation touches my sense organs. Okay. So there is a clear distinction between my body and then the judgment of the awareness of the coldness or the judgment of the awareness of the hotness. And where this judgment comes up, where this judgment comes up, this judgment comes up from the past behavior. What we have learned, these are all learned behavior. So we have learned somehow in our life that when we inhale, the breath that comes, this is something cooler. So this is a learned behavior. So we need to understand that this is basically a mutually agreeable state of mind that we have agreed in our life to understand that what is coldness and what is hotness. But on our body, if we feel, we need to understand that our body is always neutral. It is always neutral. But the awareness of anything happening, hence we have identified that event by a name, like here, the coolness or the hotness of the breath, then only we are able to judge. So this is a next level judgment. This is absolutely observable state. The pain has come, but my body is still there, and the pain is there. I accept the fact. But what is a pain? So whenever I don't feel things or something uncomfortable, I have labeled it as a pain. So it doesn't mean that the pain is not there or the pain is there. No, I have agreed to this state that something unpleasant comes up and I keep shouting, oh, I can't live with this. So this is an agreed state. The moment you keep watching and being aware, being neutral, you will see that the pain fades away. Okay. And last, anything unpleasant like smell, feeling, or anything. So you need to be totally aware and present with this. Now, so what I mean by is like the pain, as I said. If things are not happening in the way they should be, then also you need to be totally aware. You don't need to be engaged in the dialogue. Our guru used to say, see, something pleasant comes up. So in those moments, what we do is we tend to enjoy. We like to, become a part of it. Some good sensations come up. My memory with my child, almost a couple of years back, I really cherished it. But unpleasant sensations are exactly the first priority where you should have total awareness. You should have total observability. If you can stand into it, then after, even in the pleasant situations also, you can train yourself. But this is the first moment, then you should be absolutely aware about what's happening in my body. Okay, so the first level awareness usually talks about the whole essence of the practice and why it is important during body scanning if something unpleasant comes up, and what will be your response to it. This is what exactly it talks about. Okay, and let me take you through. We have 15 minutes, so let me finish in 15 minutes. The second level is the awareness of the body. The first level was all about, feeling more about the physical, the gross sensations, what is happening, unpainful, how am I going to respond to it. But the second level talks about you specifically focus on the body parts, okay, with the awareness set of mind. So now there is not something gross as such, but you are just trying to get into more finer aspects of the awareness now. So it could be like a subtle temperature difference. Like when you become aware about the cold and hot of your breath, most of the people take their breathing day by day, from moment to moment, but they are not even aware about the fact that when they're breathing, there is a coldness associated with this. So this is another dimension to it. The moment you will close your eyes, you will sit for, you might hear some sort of sounds. Some people tend to have tinnitus, that ringing sensation that comes in. And you can feel it very loud for few of them. Or some people have this sudden, urge of, they could start smelling things, but like far, far away. I remember the first time when I was in my retreat, uh, the kitchen was almost 200 meters away. But on the eighth day of my meditation, my smell perception became so heightened, I could sense that today they were making halwas, and I could feel that smell almost 200 meters away. So this usually happens. So when all this happens, what you need to do? You don't need to be a part of it. Let them fade away. So it has come, it will fade away. That's it. You don't want to be engaged in it. And always keep your body to the center. So, body to the center. So earlier it was more going through the small aspects of the body. But once you move towards the breath, then this is the awareness of the body is more important. I will just, so my focus for the breath is somewhere here. So for me, it might be, this would be the awareness of my body this time. Anything outside this, I will just keep it, fade away, let it fade away. Any pain in my knees, let it fade away, let it fade away. I don't want to get engaged into it. Something I feel crawling here, I need to scratch myself. Ask yourself a question. Was there an ant or any fly or anything in your room? Almost 10 or 15 minutes back, no. And how come you are feeling this itch? This is just one of the sensations because your perception of your awareness was gross. Now it is becoming subtler. The moment they become subtle, then small sensations, your body gets attuned to them. But we identify these sensations, we don't know what these sensations are, so we label them. Label them was what? Label them as something that we know in the past. So some people feel like something crawling, something fluttering, or something like an ant is crawling inside their ear or something. Now this usually happens. So you have to use your mind diligently. Whether do I need to really scratch it now or not? Because the moment you scratch it, you have become engaged in the dialogue. So to avoid, what you will do, you will have an absolute presence about the sensation now. And if you really need to scratch it, take your hand very slowly and then try to touch it here and see if it's something there or not. Most of the time you will see there is nothing. Then you take your body slowly with a total awareness of the breath and the movement of this hand, because this is the gross body part that's moving now. So I will have total awareness of this hand and in between to the breath, totally awareness to each and everything, and then I will slowly get into my posture again. Okay. So after awareness of the body, narrowing of the awareness, what we spoke about. So this is what we are talking about, the narrowing of the awareness, the feeling of the breath. When the breath comes in, how does it feel on the gates of your nostrils? How does it feel inside of your nostrils? Okay. When you breathe out, how does it feel on the inner gates of your nostrils? Okay. So starting during the first stages, this awareness is more important inside because these are more grosser. But as you move further, more subtler is when you exhale, and that exhalation of the breath touches your nostrils and you feel the touch here. This is very subtle. Okay. So All these things. The awareness need to be shifted from nostrils to the mustache. And if someone can't feel something this subtler, you might expand area of awareness for them for a more wider open area like chest or might be the tummy. So chest and tummy could be used only in the starting phases if someone can really can't concentrate here. So we'll start with the tummy first, okay, and then move to the chest, and then try to get them here. If someone can't focus here straight away. Okay. Now, what is the natural breath? A natural breath is something when you really need the oxygen, the breath gets in. It is very shallow or deeper, or it is heavier, or it is longer, or it is shorter. These are all the qualities of the breath. So sometimes you might use it as a parameter, whether you are totally aware about the natural breath or not. So my breath is coming and is going out. So is it short? No, it is long. Is it shallow or is it deeper? Is it more like a heavier or more a sense of lighter? So on different parameters, you can even judge them at this point of time. But you should be only aware about the natural breath, the natural breath that just comes in and goes out without any effort. Sometimes, as I said, that on the first day, as I said, so sometimes if you can't feel the breath, 4 or 5 times you might take deeper breaths. So deeper breath is more about now. When you are taking a deeper breath, this is more like a forcible inhalation and exhalation. So this is not the natural breath. But since I can't feel the natural breath, I need a more grosser experience. So I have taken myself to a more forceful kind of inhalation and exhalation for the time being. And then slowly I will just stop and I will keep following the natural breath again. Okay. And let everything fade to the periphery. Okay. So level 1, 2, 3. These are the 3 levels that are going to be a part of our practice till today. Okay. Level 4 is something that you are usually able to do within a span of a week or a 10 days time. So we will possibly cover it might be tomorrow or day after. Okay. Now, any questions?
Sir, I had a question. So we were talking about external distractions like noise and things like that, where you said that you just have to keep observing that with disconnection to it and not get attached to that particular thing and just
Mhm.
then let it fade away. So
Mhm.
actually, sir, I try to meditate a lot of times, but I have kids at home, so
Mhm.
that becomes a very big hindrance to me because I'm not able to sit for a longer time. Definitely, yes, because they keep coming and going, and I cannot. I mean, concentrate on. So can you just tell me something which I can do so that I can even for like a span of 15 to 20 minutes where I can just
Okay. Let me help you out.
yeah.
There are 3 strategies. My teacher used to say. First thing is, if you can face it, face it. So if you have a kid, so it might be they are crying or quarreling with each other, and there is this huge sound. So until and unless it's fine, what you do is you become totally aware about what your kids is shouting, but again, without getting attached to it. The first way is because my smaller kid, he is like 4 years old, but he shouts a lot. If I open my door now, you know, he will be roaming here, and he had a whistle in his mouth. When he screams, it's like a whistle. So I know until unless he is whistling, he is fine. It is just he wants to play around and irritate me. So I will use that sound. I will just use it for the timing. And if I feel like now अब जो है मुझे ये जो है problem है, like he's going to fight with something, then I have to really get up. But the first strategy says that if you feel that this is his natural behavior, have absolute control over your understanding that my kid is crying, okay, or he's shouting. He's shouting, but he's good now. So you have to really give yourself an assurance that he's shouting, but he's good now because this is his habit. So it's normal, and you just watch it, and he keeps on doing it. and team keeps on it. You will see that in a couple of minutes, usually, they just fades away in the back. Second strategy is, so if you change him, so you tell him irritate me, yeah, don't do it, I'm just trying to breathe. And the third strategy is to just get away from there. So if you know that your kid is going to make a sound, what time of the day you will use for meditation? What will be the best time to meditate?
When they're sleeping.
Exactly. So the ideal time is put up an alarm at 4 a.m. Meditate for 40-50 minutes if it's possible. That 40-50 minutes will be equivalent to 2 to 2 or 3 hours of sleep. So if you
Yeah.
meditate early in the morning, it will take care of your health issues also. And that will be the
Right.
best time.
Okay. And sir, also one more thing that a lot of times what happens is when I start meditating, like so I feel like the tend of sleepiness. I feel like I want to sleep now. ऐसे सो जाना है मुझे ऐसे टाइप का फीलिंग आता है तो इज इट ओके इज इट नेचुरल कि
Absolutely. 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 Why we sleep? This is a very good question. Why most of the people tend to sleep in meditation? Why this happens? See,
because maybe that's the most thing which is required by the body or mind, I think.
yeah, it's not the body and the mind, it's on the psychic level we are tired. We are
Correct.
sleeping for 7 hours in a day or 6 hours in a day, but understand that deep down inside we are really tired, and we are just trying to match up with the requirements of day-to-day activities, whether that's for the husband or for the wife or for the kids or for the family, or aaj marriage mein jana hai. So we are just trying to manage things up. So it's absolutely normal when you have this sort of feeling. What you will do is, the best thing is, see, for a starter practitioner, what I say that take a pillow, and keep it a small cushion below your
Mm.
sacrum or the buttock bone. When you feel sleepy and you really feel like you need to sleep, just take the pillow straight away and sleep there for 10 minutes. This is the best thing that you can give yourself. This is the biggest reward for you. Sleep there for 10 minutes. And then when you wake up, things continue again.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay.
one way is this. But if you feel like, okay, I did for the 1 day, 2 day, 10 days, or 15 days on, but still I keep on sleeping. Now this is more like an alarm for you now. This is
Mm.
what my behavior has been, the laziness, and
Mm.
the sense of procrastination, I would say, that wants to extend the things. Yeah, aaj abhi nahi hai, now abhi to mujhe sona hai. No, this is where you take call, and what you say that now I won't sleep. The moment you have the sleep, what you will do is you will increase the depth of your breathing. So you will take 4 or 5 or 6 times deeper breath.
Mm.
So you will take voluntarily, more voluntary, so that the sleep could be shifted for some time. And sleep is also more like sensations. Sleep has a cycle. This is more like sensation. It just wants to crawl in, crawl in, crawl in. And this is like a point of no return. But if you can sustain here, it
Mm.
just goes away. So this crease that you need to wait, but this is the crease or not. If you can sustain that crease, it will went away, and you will be absolutely fine. So the best practice is, first you sleep and try to give yourself ample time. But if you think that this has become your habit, then increase your breathing for some time and let yourself follow, get past of that crease level so that you can be awake.
So I also had a question on the same line. So I honestly don't sleep
Hmm.
much. I think I sleep about, I think on an average I sleep 4 to 5 hours in a day. I mean,
Okay.
that as much as I sleep. But I was also told that it's not the hours that you sleep; it's more about how much deep sleep you have. So if you really sleep 8 hours and you have two hours of deep sleep, I think your body is kind of happy with that. Is that true, or are you saying you really have to force yourself to sleep for 8 hours?
See, you don't need to force anything. If you feel like hungry, you have to eat. If you feel like something to drink, you drink. In the same way, if you feel like you need to sleep, then you only sleep. But somehow, this is what has happened. this entire society as a whole, this human evolution, we have become very much aesthetic towards a deep sleep pattern. Most of the people, we are not sleeping good enough. Whether it's about 4 or 5 hours or 6 hours, doesn't matter. There has been so many clinical research which have been done, and they say that what is a deep sleep? Some people have this, I sleep for 4 or 5 days, and I'm fine with this. You might be fine with this, but let's understand what is a deep sleep. Deep sleep is a state where you have rapid eye movements and slow breathing. These two things need to be there. And if you compare this with most of the people, you will find it's not there in their sleep pattern anymore. Okay.
So
And
where I was coming from is, we've got gadgets now, something like a smartwatch,
mhm,
which basically kind of measures your sleep while you're sleeping,
mhm, mhm,
and then it actually gives you the time that how much was deep sleep versus you were not really sleeping or disturbed sleep.
mhm.
So I kind of look at that once in a while, but I don't know if it's really genuine or if it's really helpful.
See, my sister was very much conscious about her weight. So her husband gifted her a smartwatch, and they used to keep track of how much steps they have walked on each and every day. So what they did is they started counting for how many kilometers she walks in a house, and it was almost like 4.5 or 4.8 kilometers in a day. She was. So she said that if I'm walking so much, what she did is she said I don't need to go for a walk. She stopped. She gained 8 kgs of weight in a matter of 4 months. Okay. So smartness thing is good enough, but somehow what I understood that when it comes to the vibrations, let's understand the amount of food that we eat, the energy that we try to gain right now from the outside world, ample amount of energy wasted by our mind because it is agile. It has this vibration, this intense vibration. So if this is the balance, it has to go this much this side and this much. So and this keeps on following the good and the bad, this duality cycle. So there's a lot of vibrations. The moment you meditate, this vibrations starts to calm down. Okay. Then the energy invested by the mind becomes starts getting saved in your body. Now these are the moments when I have realized if I meditate for 10 days, for 10 hours in a day, for 10 days. Then these are the moments when I sleep for 3 hours or 4 hours and I will wake up in the morning at 4 a.m. and I'm like fresh, so fresh that even in the afternoon also I don't have to take any break or get a small nap. But this usually happens after these kind of retreats with me. So I realized that okay, how much I needed that deep level of and how much energy my mind takes in. So let's judge it. Do you think that your mind is calm? Do you think your mind is equanimous? Do you think your mind is steady? If it's not, if your answer is no, or on a scale of 1 to 10, if it's anything less than 7, then it means that you are not sleeping deep enough.
Yeah, I think where I'm coming from is the school of thought where people kind of do meditation early morning. They have something like a Brahma Muhurta at 3:30 a.m. I
Mhm.
wonder, what time do they sleep? They sleep at what, 6:37 in the evening to get up at 3:30, because that's something I find extremely difficult to do, is getting up early morning.
See, as per my experience, I believe that 4 or 4.5 hours, if you are really in that equanimous state, this is the number of hours I have found myself to be absolutely comfortable. So by that logic, if you have to wake up at 3:30 or 4, if you sleep even at 10, you will be fine enough. So it is all about the mental state. Let's understand. How many hours? Definitely early. That's why we say that you have your dinner at least before the sunset. So that because earlier there were no bulbs. And there's this one research what I have went through that say that the more amount of bulb that we have put in our homes, and this illumination, the artificial illumination we have created within our homes, this is creating helped us to become more and more awake for longer duration of time. The moment you take any person in off grid for a week's time, your natural sleep cycle kicks in The day as after as after the sunset, after a hour or two, people start falling asleep normally. If they have taken their lunch, or sorry, dinner at a proper time, they start falling asleep very, without any problem. Might be 7:30 or 8 or 8:30. This usually happens automatically. So it has more to do with the kind of vibrations what we are in. If I need to sum it up, all these electricities, these mobile phones and everything, the vibration what they expend on us. We are very much in a dense environment. But whenever you are into this mindfulness state, your your vibration states change from alpha, theta, delta to omega. 330 is an omega, theta, more delta and omega state. Delta omega state is where you have at an average of 5 to 8 thoughts in 1 minute. Okay, and and the normal alpha beta states are when you have more than 40 to 45 thoughts in 1 minute. So that's why they say if you meditate early in the morning, the things become more easier for you. You're not fighting with the body because naturally the conditions are the intensity of the thoughts is less in that time.
That makes sense. Makes sense. No, I was, on a lighter note. We have Arva here with us on the call. She kind of sleeps. I mean, she can sleep anytime. She's going to sleep at 9 o'clock. There are times when I have to wake her up for a class.
Okay.
She's a yoga trainer, and I have to wake her up at 5 o'clock. When I go to sleep at 3 in the morning too. So I don't know how people sleep. And that was why I asked this question.
So I,
No,
I get a very good sleep, sir. I don't know. After after practicing yoga, my sleep pattern has become amazing. So I really sleep really well. Like if I sleep at 10:30, I wake up at 5 usually. But if I sleep late, then I tend to wake up late also. So that's how it is. So, but yeah, I get a very undisturbed sleep unless or until my kids are waking up or something like that. I have a very good sleep at night. So I'm
but
pretty good about my sleeping
uh,
pattern.
and this is you're
And so
really
one more
lucky,
question
I
I
guess.
had,
Yeah, go ahead.
that at times what happens that during meditation people also get some kind of emotional breakout. Like
Hmm.
I've observed few people get very emotional, like they start crying and all that. So
Hmm.
all this is like normal for people to have this emotional breakout during meditation. I don't know, they just get that feeling of those those emotions coming up, maybe something piled up in their heart or something, and then they burst
Exactly,
out like that. Or
exactly. So these are basically sometimes these are the same life traumas. So something deep seated. So might be a relationship, or the brother did something, or between your parents and between you, or you have saw something troublesome. These are deep seated emotions. It happens, but it happens like might be in 2% of the cases, not most of the people. And for them, that's why we have this practice for forgiveness and forgiveness. For these kind of people, it's a wiser decision to start with the practice of forgiveness and forgiveness. Let them remember all the people. Let them feel that energy. If they want to cry, let them cry. Let this drain out first. Okay. If they have something, some sort of stuck up emotions for these uh, these characters in their life, let them forget what they have done first. So let it first calm down and then get into the meditation phase. So there is a significance of this practice specifically for people those are too much emotional. Those get
mm.
attached to others so easily. For them specifically. Okay. So any more questions
So
we have?
I think I really have this
Okay.
because a lot of time I have this emotional outburst, especially during meditation. But
Mhm.
on the contrary, I actually feel nice after it. It's not like I'm carrying it after meditation. While I do it, I feel know uh, it's not negative energy. I just say that I burst out emotionally. I get a little weak. There could be tears and crying also, but then after that, I really feel nice. I mean, it's not that I'm taking it through the day. So is that bad or good or what?
Again, as I said, this is the behavior of yours. You know, that crying is bad. If I have a bad, if I have a feeling about someone, now if that feeling is bad, this is my own categorization for myself. So this is basically a sticker that we have applied that this emotion is negative, this is trauma, you know, this is heartbreak, and this is something very troublesome. This makes me angry. So these are our own justifications. So my point is that the whole practice is about getting away from this judgmental part and being into a totally observable state. That it is only there, and I'm just here to watch it. That's it. If it fades away, let it fade away. Let it go. But I don't. I need to learn. I need to learn to get undisturbed by it, especially with the bad things, bad feelings, bad emotions, because they are troublesome. They really makes us, break our emotional state very easily. So that need to be done first. And once you become aware with this, then you go towards good feelings also. Because the way bad feelings have came up and they went away, in the same way, good things will also come up and they will take over. So if you get too much attached to it, then also it's a problem. Why? Buddha said, Sukha vi dukkha and dukkha vi dukkha.
Hmm.
Why? Dukh to dukh hai. So if you are in pain, it is going to pain. But even the happiness is also a two-faced coin, and the happiness is has a dual face, and that is bound to be with the sadness. Why? Because the person with whom you feel happy now, you happy. Why? Because he cares for you. You have this lovely relationship, or you have this bonding with this person. But the moment that person's happiness or that his emotional state changes, then the same amount of love that you feel, that same amount of love will become into aversion, that pain, that sorrow, that trauma that you will carry. So Buddha's strategy is very direct and sometimes it feels very blunt, but this is the fact that sukh to dukh hai hi, और दुख में तो दुख होना ही है यानी the entire life is all about dukkha only. The moment you start realizing it is dukkha, you can start living every day without getting attached to it. You will be absolutely aware about when the bad things happen, you will be aware, okay, it will get away. But when the good things will come up, you will become super aware. Now I have to be really live very carefully now. If I become too attached, this is going to be the reason for my another dukkha. So the moment of happiness could be your stepping stone of cessation of dukkha for you in the future. And this is very
So
important.
very interesting and intriguing. It's very nice to hear this. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's very practical what you just said. So slightly digressing from this, there are some other schools of thought which speak about trying to learn your chakras and
Mhm.
which of your chakras weak and stuff like that. Does that help?
See, I really, just see those posts and I just let them, pass on because I really don't want to get engaged into it. Because,
Mhm.
these people talk about chakras, they talk about dark soul. Let me give you these terminologies, what they use. So when you are that heightened state of Kundalini, they will say that, you are in touch with your archangel or something. And the moment that the inner dark side comes in, they say that this period is your dark soul. And
Mhm.
all those found memories and everything will come up. And your this chakra is blocked. So if you remove it, then then energy will shift to other chakras.
Right.
How many times you will keep on clearing chakras? If you clear one time, some guru will come and he will throw his hand over your head and he will clear all the chakras. But what about tomorrow or after 10 days? Yeah. So that's why again Buddha said, Atta hi attano natho, atta hi apni gati. We are self-made. We need to be self-made. We have to take control of things. And if you want to end your sorrow, you need to go to the root cause of it. And that is this classification of pain and sorrow, and this love and hatred. If you stop this judgment, this classification right there, you stop this reactive mind getting attached to it, you will be out of everything. After 10 days of meditation, my own experience, all your chakras get balanced. And I guarantee if you do all kind of those scanning of your chakras and everything, you will be in the delta or omega state, like
Mhm.
Shri Ravi Shankar. There will be no difference between you and Ravi Shankar if you want to compare yourself. But you have to give 100 hours of meditation in a very short span of time, because the
Mhm.
amount of stress that you have accumulated, we need very hammering kind of approach. We can't let anything take our balance taken. But if you do that, I guarantee you, your all chakras will get balanced. It has the same effect what a Shat Karma has. Shat Karma does the same thing. It balances all your chakra, especially Shankapaksha. In yoga, you have this Shankapaksha, the cleansing. You drink saline water and you just let it. You go to the
Mhm.
liver and you keep on clearing your tummy. That one practice alone rebalances all your chakras in the most
Mhm.
harmonious. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to go to any Baba. We don't have to get any, and take any kind of initiation or anything. This is self-made. There is one more technique that you can use. This is called as hijama. If you do a proper hijama, a wet cupping done on your energy centers in the proper way, all your chakras will get balanced. You will have the same kind of subtle body vibrations and movements in your body that you feel after intensive hours of meditation. I have felt that on my own body. So I'm only telling from my own experiences. So there are different ways of in the market, but let's understand where you will keep on roaming around in the market. You can't do that. You have to find one practice that's subtle, it's simple, that you can follow every time, and it will give you the best results. But
Mhm.
sometimes if you feel like, okay, you have become more condensed, dense, you have become very gross, go for a Sankpakshara once. Or get yourself a hijama and then get into the practice again. So you can use them in conjunction to exhale yourself, in the spiritual path. Rather than getting attached to so many things all at once, and then getting into this entire dialogue of this dark soul, this chakras balancing, and they call it a Shakti Party, which is very popular right now these days in the
Mhm.
market. Shakti Party initiation.
Mm.
I think
Okay,
it also
so
comes from the say the students, and they hear it, they want to know what it is, and it's a demand that is popular, that can you talk a little more about chakra, can their questions are very hinted towards what is my weakness and how do I cleanse myself, or
there's see, we want to excel on the spiritual part, but we are taking a very logical basically directions, I would say. We are using our logical mind basically to understand this practice. But this is where you need only 10% of logic and 90% of first-hand experience. If you're not doing it, it won't take you anywhere. Okay. Okay. So let me stop
So
with
first
today's
will leave you
practice
and
here.
go. But what to do?
Okay.
Has to go.
And
What is it? Which means you are not listening to me.
okay. Okay. So what I was saying now, what we should, the best thing would be now to end the session now and possibly re-log in again in the audio mode and sit for at least for 40-50 minutes of meditation, and let's understand the basic problems that we usually face, and let's build over it. Okay? So what we have done on the first day, let's build over it, that how we can surpass those obstructions or those hindrances that usually we face in the practice. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Sure. ठीक है, then thank you so much. Let's log out and log in again in 5 minutes. We'll do it on my mobile.